Hello, welcome to Missing Mouse Podcast. I am Gary Howard. Thank you for joining me. It's been a while. I put one episode out. I'm trying to put out more, but with my work schedule, I've been having a lot of equipment issues, program issues, and all kinds of issues. I was surprised I put out the last one episode that I did. But I got more equipment coming on the way, so hopefully I'll start producing, getting more unsolved cases out there, unsolved murder, missing people cases. So I'm not going to waste up more time than I have to. So today's case is unsolved murder. It happened here in Kansas City, Missouri, where I try to cover cases. We also like my Truck Stop Murder podcast. I try to cover cases where I'm around at the time or where I have been. But on this case, on this show, I'm going to try to cover cases that are nearby me at the time that I'm recording. So today I am in Missouri, Harrisonville, Missouri, I believe. And I'm going to cover the case of Alonzo Thomas IV. It's an unsolved murder. Status open. The offense happened on April 5th, 2014, in Kansas City, Missouri. And right now, there's a $27,000 reward. Now at the end, I'm going to read an article that I saw in the newspaper that at the time I guess is pretty bad on gang activities and everything around this time. So he could have been involved in some of this, or because I know there's a couple unsolved, there's some solved that could have been all connected. I don't know, but maybe it is. But yeah, on April 5th, 2014, officers were called to a home. That's my reefer starting. Yeah, I'm a truck driver too. I run a reefer. If you heard that started, I don't know if you did or not. But I'm delivering to Walmart tomorrow. But I do apologize. So on April 5th, 2014, officers were called to a home in the 7100 block of Wayne Avenue in regard to a shooting. When officers arrived at the scene, they located Thomas lying by the front door at the home. Witnesses said a black male with dreadlocks who was wearing black and white clothing shot Thomas in front yard of the home and then left from the scene on foot. So he's a male, black or African American, black hair, black skin. At the time of the offense was 20. Circumstance of the offense: Alonzo Thomas IV, 20, was taking a phone call outside the house of Wayne Avenue in Kansas City, Missouri on April 5th, 2014. When shots rang out, Alfonso, referred to also as Zoe by some, was seen by witnesses speaking to individuals in a white van or truck with a sliding passenger door and rusted rims before being shot. Alonso made it to the front door of the residence where he knocked for help, collapsed, and died. The shooting took place at 1 p.m., but despite it happening in the middle of the day and there being witnesses, no arrests were made. Additional details from the Kansas City Police Department says someone knows what happened, and anyone with information can call the TIPS hotline at 816-474-8477. And like I said, a $27,000 reward is available. And this was last updated, and so it's still open April 9th, 2004. So this case, if you want to, it's called Solve the Case, is where I found this case. Now afterwards, his mom, this, because of this happened, what happened to her son, created I believe she created it. I saw a video called Mama on a Mission. So I'll put the link of this on. There's a picture of her son right there. Mama on a Mission speaks about this is what the opening page is about. My only child, Alonzo Thomas IV, was shot and killed on April 5th, 2014. No arrests have been made, therefore I've become a mama on a mission. I have devoted to maintain Alonzo's legacy, his memory, and to bring awareness to his unsolved homicide. My initial goal was to seek justice for Alonzo. I shortly realized there were other families like me, but for different reasons, they were unable to pursue justice for their loved ones. I decided to help these families as I understand their struggles. I'm willing to be their voice and stand with them as I have walked in their shoes. Mama on a Mission, Inc. was organized to help families by providing emotional and community support while seeking legal justice. I am determined to seek justice for Alonzo, and while I'm at it, I am just as determined to fight for you and your loved ones. We were established in 2014, and over the right same year he was murdered. And over the years, we have grown, developed programs, and partners with others so that we may be able to continue to serve the surviving families and homicide victims. So yes, she seems like really victim advocacy. Which this year, the True Crime Podcast of Paranormal Activity will be in Boston. I'll leave the link in the descriptions. So let's talk about more about Mama on a Mission. Services, they have victim advocacy. So Mama's is an advocate for victims' rights. We provide support and accomplishment to all criminals. So you could, blessing blog bags. We provide bags to include snacks or toiletries and daily essentials. If your homicide is up, I'll leave the link on here instead of me reading this, so you could go check it out. But tons of information. They're doing preventive education. You can learn more about this. Counseling they do, and also gives you a link where if you want to get involved events. Let's see. Look at the events. I'm looking at this page right now. So the last events I see was 2019. I don't know if it's lack of participation or I don't know. But as right now, there's no upcoming. But like I said, I'll leave. You could contact these. They have resources and everything about victim advocacies. You could get involved. Maybe you have a loved one that was murdered and you need justice for. I suppose they'll help you. Community resources they have is Casey's Network Inc., a Foundation for Hope, Healing Pathway Victim Advocacy, and POMC provides the ongoing emotional support needed to help parents. So there's a lot of information on here. You could donate to them if you want. Their phone number is 816-499-1214, or you can email them at contact@mamaonamissioninc.org. All information will be on there. So if you were around the area in Kansas City and you might have seen some of the vehicles I mentioned, call them up at 27,000. And if you live in Kansas City, this individual might come down your street and be hanging outside, and they take you out. Let's arrest these individuals before they could do harm to someone else's son or mother or father. But thank you for listening. I'm going to start doing more episodes. I'm going to try to do a lot on the missing miles about areas because I'm always traveling. I travel all over the United States as a truck driver. I could be here, then tomorrow I could be somewhere else. I could do a case there. I could do a case there. Everywhere I go, I'm finding cases. But this is from the Solve the Case website. Also, don't forget, I do have another podcast called Truck Stop Murder and True Crime Podcast. You could check that out if you want to. Those are solved cases where I talk about truck stops and a murder happened around that. The newest episode is Edward Surratt. He's a truck driving serial killer. Also, I'm in the process of making a YouTube channel called There Is Terrible, 0 stars if I could. It's where I'm going to do reviews of just more videos, where I'm going to try to do a video of the outside of where truck stop I'm at the time, and you can see my ugly face if you want to. Reviews of where I pick up from and I deliver from my customers, and some of these reviews are hilarious. And there goes my PC talking to me. But anyhow, thank you for listening and stay safe. But before I let you go, I'll get better at this with practice. I forgot. I promised you this article that I was going to read. I think around the same time of the April where Alonzo was murdered. This article came out in the Stars editorial. It says a January shooting death of 24-year-old Brandon Aldridge outside a downtown Kansas nightclub remains an open case, but a 30-year-old man who allegedly was at the scene was charged this week with a weapons violation. Alden M. Cox, 30, is accused of unlawfully possessing a handgun with a felony on his record. If the charge sticks, he would face 7 years in prison. The arrest of Cox reflects a new crime-fighting strategy in Kansas City and possibly provides one explanation for a welcome drop in homicides. So far this year, at the close of April, the city had logged 21 homicides in 2014. Last year at this time, 32 persons had died violently. In 2012, the body count was 38, so it's going down. City leaders are hesitant to even speak of the drop for good reasons. A bloody weekend or even a violent summer night could drive the numbers up quickly. Just to prove that point, two women died violently in separate incidences last week, bringing the total number of homicides in April to 6. So this is the same month as Alonzo. Still, there is no caution optimism about enhanced cooperation among locals and federal law enforcement agencies and a more aggressive stance towards individuals who, like Cox, are believed to be associated with violence. That the premier of Kansas City No Violence Alliance, an incentive involving local and federal law enforcement, it has identified circles of people who are believed to be at risk or either being involved in murder or becoming a victim. People in the circles are invited to take advantage of opportunities to get jobs, education, and other services, but they're also warned that should they be identified with criminal activities, authorities will crack down hard. After two young men were slain in a hail of gunfire on the east side in January, federal agencies moved and arrested 18 persons of narcotics and related charges. Those arrested allegedly were associated with a gang believed to be connected with the homicides. They were met by SWAT teams at the doors. Tammy Dickerson, U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Missouri, told about 14 persons in the risk networks who attended a call-in in the East Side Church. The violence in Kansas City is going to stop, and we will take down anybody associated with it. So, Kansas City Mayor Sly James, I love that name, Sly James, has long decided that he calls slow motion mass murder, with most of the victims being black men in the urban core. But recently he's been fine tuning another message. He states, "How are we going to start telling people that this is not a crime ridden city?" He asked during his last month's meeting in the Board of Police Commissions. It is not as dangerous as it is portrayed to be. Sounds like it is. While members and violent crimes can and do take place in isolated instances throughout the sprawling Kansas City, the acts of homicides occur in a swath of the urban core too. That leaves city leaders with a dual task: assuring residents that and victims the city is safe while acting with urgency to stop the killing in the east side. So all this looks at the east side of Kansas City. In an interview, James said he thinks the city may be making progress with the second part of the question. Feels to me, and maybe it's because I'm looking for it, that we're turning some concerns. Why can't I read? He said, but there is still much work to be done. Of the 6 homicides in the 600, that'd be horrible. But 6 homicides in April, the death of 34-year-old Tavingia Curry received the most attention. The man who fired 8 bullets at Curry as he sat in his car in a gas station parking lot. Also critically wounded was the victim's 10-year-old son and endangered a 5-year-old child. So just shot randomly in the car. But using videos from the gas station and good detective work, police arrested Dante D. Jefferson, 27, for the shooting, but the lack of tips is discouraging. Multiple people at the gas station scattered when the shooting occurred, despite community outrage over the audacious crime involving children. Police heard from few witnesses. The April homicide victims include 2 women. Tina Castro, 40, was shot last Tuesday while sitting in the car, reportedly as a result of 2 passengers in the back seat handling gun carelessly. They have been charged in juvenile court with involuntary manslaughter. Michelle Baldridge, 31, was found murdered Wednesday in a Northland apartment. And 2 young men, the guy we talked about, Alonzo Thomas IV, 20, and Javante Sladen, 18, was shot outside houses of the east side. Sladen had told friends he was afraid and even Sladen told friends that he was afraid and even revealed his the name of the man now accused of murdering 22-year-old Devontae Whitley. No one has been charged for Thomas's murder. The sixth victim, 38-year-old William Nelson, was stabbed to death in what police said appeared to be a fight over a woman. These are six senseless deaths, some prompted by dangerous accusations and lifestyles, and at least one result of the ridiculously casually, not holding the gun, presence of a gun. The lower murder count so far for the year is good news, but stepped up efforts and enforcements are crucial at warning weather arrives. So there's like the article that I read. I'm gonna put this on my social media page, so if you want to read it, you can read it better than I did. Sorry about that, but now stay safe.